Hope that you got your game faces on tonight. Yes. Tonight is not airy, fairy, fluffy niceness. Brad talked last week about this concept of sin and the fact that we have a condition, an illness, all of us do, and that we need a medication, we need a cure for this illness that you have, every one of you have, and that I have. And actually, it made me feel pretty uncomfortable most of the week. I don't like being called sinful. I don't think any of us sit comfortably with that feeling of knowing, man, if there's something wrong with me. And so it made me think a lot this week. And so I'm going to piggyback on what he was talking about last week. It doesn't matter if you were here, because the basic concept that I want to piggyback on was this idea that we have a disease. When he talked about this medication that he had for this disease. And the analogy was, well, we all have this disease, and we need medication. We need something to fix this kind of sin with a big capital S, the sin condition that we have. And because I'm a very visual person, I don't know, some people understand concepts really well. I see the whole world in pictures, really. I feel like this thing is there. I feel like it's going to jam me up in the nose in a second. Okay. No? What is it doing? Is it falling down? My ears are not as big as Brad's, that's what it is. Sorry, think is. Because I see the whole world in pictures, and what you're going to get tonight is the Leanne picture version of life. I'm a very visual learner, so I understand things if you draw me a picture, and I don't really understand it very well at different points. So, thankfully, Brad helped me make these pictures, otherwise he would have got like a stick and said people that I usually draw. So these are like a higher grade version of that. But I basically just want to share 3 views of the world. I want to share 3 really basic things. If you remember them, I'll be super stoked. It's 3 basic ways of looking at the human condition and the way that we look at the world. And I think this covers all of you, and I think it covers me. I don't think there's any single person that doesn't fit into one of these 3 categories. And so I'm going to start with the very first one, and I've got pictures. Ready? Da-da, da-da. There you go. Here's the first picture. Very high grade stuff. Okay, this is trust me, this looks better than my drawing though. My very first example will be super familiar to you. And in fact, I have 2 of these living in my house, at least 2. One is 3 years old, and one is 10 months old. And but you actually know a lot of adults, and you might be a person whose whole view of the world is kind of like this. It's pretty self-centered, it's pretty selfish, and the me, takes up pretty much your entire existence. All the decisions that you make are based on how it affects you. All the actions that you take are based on the adverse or the great effect that that's going to have in your life. You are the center of your world. You are loud and you take up most of the space. I went to pick up Azza from school, my 3-year-old, this last week, and as I got into the classroom, there was something wrong immediately. The teacher had this pretty ticked off look, and she was kind of not very happy. And I saw Azza off in the corner, and one little boy was crying. And so I walked up, and the teacher was just looking at me like, "What kind of mother are you?" And I was like, "Oh, geez, what you do? Probably poop related," is what I was thinking. But it wasn't this time. It wasn't poop related. In fact, the teacher said to me, "She hit Jaden." And I was like, okay, first of all, I'll be honest, my first thought was, yes, she hit a boy. She went out for a boy, but that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just confessing that was my first thought. But I said, oh no, my kid has hit another kid. So, like every self-respecting mom right now, I walked over and I walked over towards Azza. And before I even said anything, she comes running straight up to me. She goes, "Mommy, I didn't do anything." Just like that. Like, I haven't even discussed, we haven't even talked about, "Mommy, I didn't do anything," which is your straight up indication that in fact she has done something quite horrendously badly. So the teacher says, she hit Jaden. So I go, "Azza, why did you hit Jaden? Why did you hit Jaden?" And she goes, "No." Just gives me these huge eyes, looks me in the face and goes, "No." Okay. So I go, okay, well, what do I do with this? The teacher goes, "Azza, you did hit Jaden." And Jaden is still in the corner, like, wailing. So clearly, like, he definitely got hit by Azza. So she just goes ahead and lies, straight up. So then I go, "Okay, sweetie." So I get down on her level, I do the whole, "Azza, it's not good to hit, we don't hit, we're almonds, we don't hit, blah, 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 I do this whole thing. And then I go, "Sweetie, you need to go and apologize to Jaden. You need to go say sorry." And she just looks at me and she goes, crap, what am I going to do? So I go, well, no, Auntie, you have to go and apologize. Like, you can't just hit people. Go and say sorry. She looks at me and she goes, okay, at this point, I'm like, okay, the teacher is watching me. Jaden is still wailing and flailing in the corner. I'm like, what do I do? Like, the 3-year-old is refusing to say sorry. Well, eventually, after about 10 minutes of me, like, using a couple of mean words and threatening to take things away and stuff, she eventually goes and says sorry. And then I go, oh, this isn't just about my 3-year-old. This is actually like the human condition, right? Think about how often this happens. Think about this little nice little process that we do. One, we do something wrong. We hit Jaden. Or in our case, we do something equally bad. Like we lie to a friend, or we talk about someone in the wrong way, or we withhold praise from someone to punish someone, or we refuse to forgive someone. We do something that we know is wrong, right? All adults do this. Second thing that we do is then we lie about the thing that we did wrong. No, I didn't change. And we lie. We go, no, I told you didn't do that. Or then still we lie to ourselves. We like go, I mean, look, I just needed a vent, right? That's my favorite. I just needed a vent about that thing. I wasn't really talking badly about the person. It's just I get so much pressure, and I need to like release the pressure. So I need to tell someone. This is another word for saying gossip. I need a vent. So we lie. So we do the stupid thing, and then we lie about the stupid thing. And then the third thing we do is we refuse to say sorry. I mean, when was the last time you actually remember apologizing to someone? Saying, you know what, I totally screwed up. I am so sorry. Please, will you forgive me? Adults, generally speaking, don't do that anymore. It's a remarkable thing. We tell 3-year-olds they need to do it, but we don't do it very much. I don't do it very much. I don't figure out that I did something wrong and then go, you know what, Brad, I screwed up. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. This is not just a little bit of 3-year-olds. This is like the condition of people. It's kind of what we do. And my bottom kind of thought on this was, from the day we were born, it's a human condition. We're pretty selfish. Some people call this original sin. You were born selfish. And you pretty much stay selfish, like that picture. You pretty much stay taking up most of the space in your world. Because being sinful is not about the bad choices you make, it's the natural persuasion of the human heart. A baby does not come out of the womb smiling. It does not come out of the womb cooing. It's not self-sacrificial. A baby comes out screaming, going, pay attention to my needs. And they carry on screaming for about 3 weeks. They don't stop. They just carry on like, whack, 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 whack. Basically, you whack your whole life. It just changes tone a little bit. I mean, it's true, right? You basically are concerned about your own needs. You are pretty much the king of your own universe. Okay, that's one. Take a look at the second one. This is the higher grade, improved, mature, responsible adult version. It's the elevated view. It's the college view. And in fact, I think this fine institution at ASU would be pretty stoked if you all graduated as these kind of people. Mature, responsible adults. You're still the center, you'll notice, of your universe, still me, but you care about the people before you. So you're paying attention to like wise older people, people that are teaching you things, your parents, your grandparents. You're paying attention to people that have gone before you. So you're trying to learn from people before you. Then you'll see the arrow going down. You actually also care about the people who come after you, the future generations. You care about your kids, you care about your grandkids. It's people like you care about the Amazon and the rainforest, right? We're not going to get to see any change in the rainforest in our generation. In our lifetime, we're not going to see it. But you do it because you're responsible. You care about the people that are going to come after you, and you feel like that's a worthy thing to do. So not only do you care about those coming before you and those after you, you also care about the people that you're alongside. You care about yourself and community. So you care about the friends, you care about relationships. This is a beautiful picture of a mature, responsible adult, except for one little problem. You are still the center of your universe. And if you hold to the first thing that you're selfish, you are screwed, even as a mature, responsible adult, right? Because you might be asking, well, this looks really good. What's wrong with this? Well, in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with this, except you still got the same problem. You are still the center of your universe, and you are still selfish, and so am I. You're still going to whack, whack, whack your whole life if you stay like this. And the thing is, let's go to the next one, Aaron. What happens with a whole bunch of people like this is this. You got a bunch of big me's, the me's that take up the whole of your universe, and you got a bunch of little me's, the ones that are caring about all the people around them, and all they're doing is zinging around and bumping into each other. A whole bunch of selfish people all bumping into each other and creating a bunch of friction. Because left to our own devices, what we have accomplished as humans in all our glory is a phenomenally jacked up world, right? I mean, it's violent. There is conflict. There are broken relationships. There are famines. There is war. A bunch of terrible things. I just finished reading The Hunger Games. Okay, I read The Hunger Games in like 1.5 days, because that's what you do with The Hunger Games. In fact, I have my Hunger Games book, and I was walking to and from the toilet with the book. Sit on the toilet, read the book, carry on, talk to Maggie, hold on. You read The Hunger Games in like a day and a half, right? I'm not convinced that The Hunger Games is that far off, y'all. I swear I'm not. I don't think it's that far off. It's a bunch of really wealthy people in the future whose entertainment is to watch a really big bunch of impoverished people kill each other for entertainment. I don't think it's that far off. I don't think it's that far-fetched in a couple of years. Leave us to our own devices. That's the kind of thing, that's the kind of crap we come up with. A bunch of selfish people, all caring about what's most important to me, all conflicting with one another. Or if you read, like in school, if you read Lord of the Flies. Anyone read Lord of the Flies? Yeah, right? You put a bunch of people on an island, or a bunch of kids on an island, and you leave them alone. What happens? We destroy each other, right? You don't find a bunch of people, let me pick a coconut for you. No, let me go find a water source for you. Because we're selfish. So we take care of ourselves. It's survival of the fittest. We care about ourselves. I want to show you this extremely disturbing quote. I don't know how many of you read this about this 15-year-old that murdered a 9-year-old. Didn't even read about it. A 15-year-old girl lured a 9-year-old neighbor onto the street and then strangled her and slit her throat. And she's just gone to trial now. She's been in prison for 2 years. And she was convicted basically based on this journal entry that wrote. They didn't make this stuff up. This is what she wrote in her journal. I just effing killed someone. I strangled them and slit their throat and stabbed them and now they're dead. I don't know how to feel at the moment. It was amazing. As soon as you get over the, oh my God, I can't do this feeling, it's pretty enjoyable. I'm kind of nervous and shaky right now. How can you argue that we don't live in a jacked up world? That is messed up. That's a 15-year-old who wrote in a journal, it was kind of freaky, but it was amazing. She's talking about taking a 9-year-old and strangling her there and then cutting her throat and burying her in a shallow grave. Dude, that is the kind of world that we live in. We're jacked up. It's a super simple world. And I want to, gently as I can, say this, that both these worldviews are bullcrap. And that's gentle. Because I think in college, we love to think that our minds are so big. This is a time where you go, I'm thinking really big. I'm thinking about the big things in life. Where do I come from? What is my purpose? Where do I fit in? And I would suggest to you that I think both those views are ridiculously small. Ridiculously small. Because I think the truth looks more like this. God is the center of everything, the whole universe and everything. And He has been from eternity, and He will be to eternity. And you and I are these little dots centering around God. We weren't ever designed to be in the center of anybody's universe. We're both incredibly important and personal, but yet we're incredibly small. And we're an incredibly tiny little part of this massive, massive truth that has been since eternity and will continue till eternity. The sin condition that Brad spoke about last week, the illnesses that we have, the illness that we have basically is that we're selfish. We're completely self-centered. We want to be the most important thing. And this sin condition that we have, the selfishness, is the thing that causes all those other stupid little sins that we think are really important. The sin condition that kind of makes us hit Jaden and then lie about hitting Jaden and then not want to apologize for hitting Jaden. Or withholding forgiveness to people. Or I used you. That little sin that a lot of us do. I love to just use you. Or the lack of concern, right? Just complete apathy towards people that are marginalized or suffering or victimized. Or the people that take up too much of our time. So our answer to the sin condition that Brad was talking about last week is not to try and be better people. We can't do that. You're incapable of it, and so am I, because you still have the same worldview where we are in the center. Let me read to you something that's pretty convicting from Romans chapter 8. Listen to this. This is what the Bible says about it. Those who live according to the sinful nature have their mind set on what their nature desires. But those who live in accordance with the Spirit have their mind set on what the Spirit desires. The mind of sinful man is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. Listen to this. The sinful mind is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those controlled by the sinful nature cannot please God. Holy smokes. I want to read that last one again. The sinful mind is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those controlled by the sinful nature cannot please God. Okay, that's pretty convicting. You are incapable of pleasing God if you're in the middle. It's not possible. A friend of mine who's been in Young Life for many, many years told me about a kid who was in his club, kind of like this for high school. And his great, profound statement about life was this: there are only two things in life, Jesus and shit. There are only two things in life, Jesus, and then everything else is shit. And everything else is shit. Yes, I said shit and shit in the correct context. There's Jesus, and then there's shit. G.K. Chesterton said in a way more gentlemanly fashion, a bunch of newspaper people in London asked him and a bunch of really well-respected thinkers and theologians and writers, what is the problem with the universe? And he actually wrote them a response. What is the problem of the universe? And this was his response. Dear sirs, I am. Sincerely, G.K. Chesterton. That's the answer right there. What's the problem with the universe? You. You're the problem with the universe. I'm the problem with the universe. And it's not the little things you do wrong. It's the state of your heart. It's because you think you're the most important thing. And everything you run by is run through what is the best for me. It's selfishness. I think it takes a while to get to the place where we can come to grips with that. It definitely took me a while to get my mind around this. Because the truth is, no matter how many times I try to fix myself, no matter how hard I try to be better than I am, it's about the condition of my heart and not about the things that I do. You see, it's not good enough to be this mature, responsible adult because you weren't created to be that. Your heart was created for eternity. Your heart was created to be a part of that truth that stretches from eternity to eternity with Jesus and God in the middle. I'm not sure why you're here tonight. I think some of you might be here because someone invited you to club, or maybe you're here because you didn't have anything better to do, or maybe you come because you like the music, or maybe you come because maybe you came tonight because it's Valentine's Day and you didn't want to sit by yourself in your dorm. I mean, I don't know why you came, or maybe you came because you know that there's something wrong. You have a sneaky suspicion, like there's something deep in you that goes, there's something jacked up about me, and there's something jacked up about the world. And when those guys in Young Life talk, they're talking about things that there's something appealing about what they're saying. They're talking about this Jesus guy, and I don't entirely buy it, but there's something that's truthful in it. There's something that rings true. What are the implications of this thing? If I'm right in my little stupid drawings, what's the implication of this? Aaron, this is the implication, right? You have to figure out where you are with this deal. You have to figure out who you are and how you live. Either you're like this, and you're kind of like a kid or a pretty immature adult, and you are the center of your universe. You are the most important thing, and every decision you make is based on what's good for you. Or you're a mature, responsible adult. Congratulations, you're still the center of your universe, and you're still screwed. Or you look at this bottom thing and go, yeah, being in the center, it doesn't work. How many of you have tried? You find you do something crap, and you know you do it crap, and then you try to fix it. So you go, okay, I'll do it better the next time. And you do it. And you can go a lifetime doing that. And it never gets better. It doesn't change. And the reason it doesn't change is because you're the problem. Your sinful nature, the way you were born, your original sin stretches for your whole life. It's about being selfish. And there's only one way you'll get from the top to the bottom. There's only one way to do that. You have to quit being in control. You have to quit being in the center. Love the words of that J.J. Ellis song. Oh, control, it's time to let you go, right? It's not about trying. It's not about this. It's about letting go of control. It's about going, I cannot be the center of my universe anymore. Because I can't do it. I screwed up. And then the way you move to accepting this bottom line is as simple as just going, I believe it. I'm going to believe it. It's not very complicated. And yet, you'll sort of difficult decisions you make, I think. Because you truly are going, okay, I'm going to give up the right to be the center of my universe. I have had 3 close friends die. 3 close friends in my life. One of them was just this last December. And the remarkable thing about people who are dying is that they seem to get a really clear focus on life. They seem to understand life. Suddenly it becomes really clear when you know you're going to die. And 2 of the 3 guys said this sentence more than once. This is just temporary. And when they said it, I was like, I'm not entirely sure I understand what they're saying until I really started thinking about it. I think they were getting a glimpse of what's really important. And they were saying, this life is just really temporary. See, because we live like this life is everything. Like from the beginning of when I'm born to when I die is the most important thing. What if they were right? What if your life is just temporary? It's just a small little dot that's made to be around this bigger truth that has been forever and will be forever. What if your life is not that important? I think that you have to decide what you're going to do with this. I don't think you get taken away. I mean, I'm praying that you don't get taken away. I'm praying that you walk out of this room and you won't get to. I think we all have to make a decision about this. You can wrestle with it. You can sit with it for a while. But don't pretend like you can walk out here and this doesn't affect you. Yes, it does. It affects you and it affects me. Because we all fit into one of these categories. And I think what Jesus maybe has for us tonight is to go, okay, I've got to take this seriously. And if I take it seriously, the implication is it's got to cause me to change. I have to change something about who I am and what I think about